The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond, you're listening to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders.
Black Avenger Lee Sanders here. It is now time to talk about the Extreme Rules pay-per-view by WWE that's going to be coming up this Sunday from the Scotts Trade Center in St. Louis, Missouri. We got a jam-packed card, so let's go ahead and let's get to it. And let's talk about the YouTube pre-show that we're going to be seeing as a returning The Miz will be taking on Cody Rhodes. Now, Miz has been on a little bit of a streak since he's been back in the WWE, as we had saw on Friday Night SmackDown. He was in a match against Damien Sandow, of which he was able to pick up the victory. Cody Rhodes tried to do a little bit of interference on behalf of his tag partner, but it didn't really get him anywhere, as Miz was still able to pick up the victory. You know, not really much that you can kind of sink your teeth into, as really these two guys, they haven't been going at it like that. One hasn't been interfering in the other's match, nothing of that nature. They tried to make a little bit of a connection on SmackDown leading into this YouTube pre-show matchup, but still not really much you can sink your teeth into as far as this rivalry goes, as there's nothing there. It's just pretty much a match thrown together. Should be a good match though, but with this one, Miz returning, I see him picking up the victory. It just seems like WWE right now is high on The Miz. Remember, he's been doing a couple of movie projects for them. He's been making his little PR appearances, appearing on E! And a couple of other shows. He's just been making his rounds when it comes to the media outlet. He's got a good face for it. He knows how to talk well. He has that great connection with the whole real world, the whole reality show thing. He's got a good connection outside of WWE when it comes to making those media appearances, and I just think WWE is just going to continue to ride him until, hey, maybe they get a little bit sick and tired of him. It would be nice after this is over to see him continue to maybe feud with Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes. Like, I know that we have Damien Sandow working on his own show, as he wants to try to replace The Miz and Chris Jericho's highlight reel and Miz TV. So it would be kind of cool to see The Miz continue to be in that circle among Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. Maybe we could see another match go down. Perhaps maybe at another pay-per-view. Wouldn't mind that. After all, we got the Payback pay-per-view coming up shortly. So they do this right. The room is definitely open for them to continue this rivalry, whether they want to go with Miz and Sandow or Miz with Rhodes. Rhodes seems like he really doesn't have that much to do. I would kind of stick with Rhodes for a little bit. But again, Miz picking up the victory. We have Alberto Del Rio taking on Jack Swagger in the I Quit match for the number one contendership to the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, Dolph Ziggler, the World Heavyweight Champion, he is going to be sitting this one out. As the Foo Fighters song goes, he is MIA. Had that nasty concussion 2 weeks ago on SmackDown in that match he had against Jack Swagger, or as he interfered in the match is what I was trying to say. And you just feel for Dolph Ziggler as he is out. And that had changed drastically this matchup, as it was supposed to be a triple threat with these two men for the World Heavyweight title. WWE officials not wanting to take a chance of extending further damage to Ziggler, have him sitting this one out. You know, to kind of make fans feel a little bit more invested into this. I personally would not mind seeing Dolph Ziggler make some type of a cameo in this match. Maybe he could be at ringside and watching these two guys get it on as he's trying to figure out who's he going to be facing for his World Heavyweight title. Don't be too surprised if Dolph Ziggler might make a little bit of a cameo. After all, he is the World Heavyweight Champion. In the past in WWE, we have seen champions that have legitimately got injured sit on the sidelines for a little bit, and they're doing their thing on commentating. Remember, just a couple of months back, or several months back, we had saw Dolph Ziggler do a little something on commentating for a hot minute, and he was pretty damn good. He has some good chops on him. Don't be too surprised if we see Dolph Ziggler at this pay-per-view, or if we begin to see him again effective on Monday Night Raw, just doing a little bit of cutting promos and calling matches, if you will. But for this particular match, man, this is a tough one, because Alberto Del Rio has really been stuck in purgatory these past several months. And I know some people may want to point out, oh, but Lee, he's been getting the great reactions the past couple of weeks. Remember, folks, SmackDown main event does not count, and it doesn't count because they have plenty of time to edit the audio, pump in the crowd chants. If you want the actual cheers, you gotta watch Raw, where they can't filter it because anything can happen. Raw, all the pay-per-views, it seems like Alberto Del Rio has been at, he has just been continuing to struggle with that connection to the crowd. He's been delivering some pretty damn great technical matches, though. Jack Swagger, he is actually still, despite not really saying anything, since he's been paired up with Zeb Coulter, which, by the way, the duo for that, they just continue to be on the roll. Looks like the whole Jack Swagger weed puff pass DUI thing that went down right before WrestleMania has not caught up to this man yet. Seems like WWE, they are still quite high, no pun intended, on Jack Swagger. I Quit match, damn sure is going to be a physical encounter. Always love it when we get I Quit matches. You know, you just got to look at who's got more momentum with this respected match. My money would love to see Jack Swagger go on to be the number one contender and take on Dolph Ziggler. I would love to see that go down. But at the end of the day, just thinking about how the WWE Universe likes to operate, they aren't really too keen on heel versus heel. I've just got to go with Alberto Del Rio. If I was booking this, I would actually go with Jack Swagger. I mean, he's just been white hot. To me, he has just been more popular than Alberto Del Rio. I know there's many WWE fans out there that personally don't care about either man, but you got those that actually like these guys, and I'm looking at it, and I got to be brutally honest, I've got to go with Alberto Del Rio, even though I think it should be Jack Swagger. Alberto Del Rio is going to be your number one contender to take on Dolph Ziggler at a future pay-per-view. John Cena will be taking on Ryback, last man standing match for the WWE Championship. Who's going to win that one? Let's talk more about that at the end. Let's skip that one for now, and let's talk about the next match we got. Sheamus versus Mark Henry. It's going to be a strap match. This is one that I'm really looking forward to the most. This is damn sure going to be downright physical. It's going to be ugly. It's just going to be a freaking all-out brawl. And man, we just talk about the impressive things that we've seen on WWE programming with Mark Henry doing the whole bench press and then pulling 2 tractor trailer trucks. I mean, the man's just been an unstoppable beast. And Sheamus, on the other hand, he's just been kind of quietly doing his thing, making his little jokes on Mark Henry, taking his little cheap shots where he's able to get it. Mark Henry's been on a roll since he's been back from his latest injury, and he seems to be picking things up right where he left off with his whole Hall of Pain gimmick. And I really have been loving Mark Henry's work, man. I mean, he has just been unstoppable. Sheamus, Mark Henry, strap match. This is one that's going to have a lot of people kicking back. They're going to be screaming. They're going to have a lot of fun watching these two guys beat the living hell out of each other just to get that little prelude that we saw on Raw a couple of weeks back where we saw Sheamus get all those welts put on his body. I don't know if you guys went to the WWE.com website, but they had pictures of Sheamus welts after he got that beat down by Henry. And it was just some of the most ugly, graphic images I've seen. I mean, that just gives you a taste of what we can expect in this match. But as far as picking a victor goes, man, it's going to be a tough one. WWE, they are really trying to figure out how they could get Sheamus over as a top babyface. And honestly, I think this is the match where you can do that. You have him take some serious beatings from Mark Henry in this match and have him go over. I think this would go well for him in his quest to get over with the WWE Universe as one of the top baby faces. I know Vince, that's his boy. Vince isn't ready to see Sheamus go down that heel route just yet. And I think this position that Sheamus is in right now, I truly believe if handled correctly, this can really help out his career as a top babyface dramatically. I think this is one of the key stepping stones that's needed for Sheamus as he goes to that next phase in his career. I'm going with Sheamus for the victory. Randy Orton will be taking on Big Show in a singles match. It's going to be a Extreme Rules match. RKO versus the WMD. Man. St. Louis, Missouri, Randy Orton in his hometown, man. And Randy Orton's been on a little bit of a hot streak within recent weeks. Even was able to do the RKO to the Big Show on last week's SmackDown. Man, how can you have the hometown hero lose to the Big Show? Just don't see that happening. And then, I'm kind of looking a little bit further into this. And, honestly, as much as I would like to see Randy Orton pick up the victory, I'm also thinking about, well, where does Randy Orton go after the Big Show? And quite honestly, as I'm thinking about that, I'm looking at the card, I'm thinking about the current roster right now, and Randy Orton, it kind of seems like he's stuck on that blue brand. It kind of seems like he is stuck in the shuffle for the blue brand as far as SmackDown goes. Honestly, it would be nice to see Randy Orton pick up the victory in this. I actually have to go with Big Show for the upset. I want to continue to see these two guys get it on. I think the bigger payoff would be for Randy Orton to go over Big Show at the Payback pay-per-view, and maybe they could then be tied 1-1, or they could just end it in a way where Randy Orton, he finally gets his revenge, and then they can separate the two. But Randy Orton, St. Louis, his hometown, his family, much as I would like to see him pick up the victory, this is one of a couple where the heel needs to go over. I got to go with Big Show over Randy Orton. All right, it's time to talk Shield. All right, we got Kofi Kingston taking on Dean Ambrose for the United States Championship. Now, this match kind of had me scratching my head a little bit because initially, as this was coming about, we were kind of led to the impression that maybe Kofi Kingston was going to be taking on Antonio Cesaro for the United States title. Remember, the two guys, they kept meeting up a couple of weeks there, having some rematches, and Kofi was getting over on Cesaro. Then we saw that intense backstage segment a couple of weeks back where Cesaro had just ripped Kofi Kingston's dread off of his head, and you're kind of seeing all this go down, and you're saying, okay, well, maybe these two are going to lock it up. But then, surprisingly, we see Dean Ambrose just slide on in there. And their backstory was from when Dean Ambrose had picked up a win over Kingston in just a normal singles match. It was a non-title match. So that was the seed right there, where a couple of weeks later they would announce that Dean Ambrose of the Shield would be taking on Kingston for the United States title. Shield has just been on a freaking roll. And man, Kofi Kingston, proud father. Man, as much as I would love to see Kofi Kingston continue to be a United States champion, and no, folks, I'm being sarcastic right here. Kofi Kingston has won the United States title, the Intercontinental title so many times, and just when you think that maybe he can go to that next level, he just continues to stay at just one pace. He doesn't take it to that next phase. And as a result of that, it just seems like WWE, they've put too much time in him, really for nothing, as they need to invest it in someone else. And right now, Dean Ambrose, he has just been delivering some phenomenal matches this past month. My God, he took on The Undertaker, he took on Kane, he took on Kofi Kingston. I mean, this man has just been all over the freaking place. I really, really have been loving Dean Ambrose's work. I mean, it's just been freaking ridiculous. He's entertaining as hell. I could watch his matches for hours. I'm sure the internet wrestling community, they love him as well. You know, you look at a guy like Dean Ambrose, and you just got to say to yourself, this is going to be Dean Ambrose night. Dean Ambrose, new United States champion, right? Right. This is the payoff. This is the route that they need to go. Dean Ambrose is going to be your United States champion. While we're talking about the Shield, let's go to the next match. Team Hell Knows, Kane and Daniel Bryan taking on the Shield's Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Tornado tag match for the tag team titles. Now, way this works is whichever member of their respective team gets a submission or a pin on the other during this match, as everybody will be in the ring at the same time, then their team will win and they will get the titles. Really have been loving the work of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. We just recently saw Seth Rollins in some singles competition. Ring of Honor alumni there. You know, these guys, these guys I've been loving as well. But, you know, I didn't quite picture Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns getting the titles. I was kind of always under the impression it was going to be Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. That just kind of made a little bit more sense to me, and have Roman Reigns be the one that gets a singles title. But they're kind of going the route right here with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in a Batista Ric Flair type of way. Remember, those two guys in Evolution, they had won the tag titles twice. And I think that's exactly the route that WWE booking is trying to go with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns, greatest potential to be that next Dave Batista if they do it right. I see no reason why Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins cannot go over in this match. Kane and Daniel Bryan, I just feel they've been staggering within recent months. Quite unfortunate, as they went from being one of the most talked about duos with their segments on WWE programming every single week to just now, when are we going to see the titles be taken off of them? And quite honestly, I think we can all be in agreement. We want to see the tag titles be taken off of them because we want to mainly see Daniel Bryan go back to singles competition. I don't exactly hear a lot of people say, oh, we just got to see Kane in singles competition again. We just got to see Kane do his thing solo. It's all about Daniel Bryan right now. And honestly, Daniel Bryan, he really needs to go back to singles competition. It's time to start seeing WWE take serious investment in Bryan. And at a time right now where they could really use some top baby faces, I think Daniel Bryan has earned that by WWE. I think he's earned their respect. He's earned that credibility to be able to get taken to that next level. But for this one, I got Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins picking up the victory. But continue to look for Kane and Daniel Bryan to feud with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. It wouldn't even surprise me if maybe we continue to see these two teams lock it up for maybe the next 2 to 3 pay-per-views that could culminate in the Shield basically putting a stipulation out there where, okay, we'll face you guys one last time, but if and when we beat you, Kane and Daniel Bryan, you guys can never team up again, and that will officially put the end of an era in Team Hell No. Moving along now, we have Chris Jericho taking on Fandango singles match. Fandango has just been owning Chris Jericho ever since WrestleMania. We've seen the dance off, and when Chris Jericho has been around, he hasn't been torn with his cool band Fozzy. He's been kicking back, and he's been working his little program there with Fandango. Latest stuff we've been seeing, honestly, I'm looking at this match and I'm thinking to myself, okay, Chris Jericho or Fandango? Chris Jericho or Fandango? I think for this particular matchup, Chris Jericho needs to go over. It just doesn't really make any sense for me personally to see Fandango go over Chris Jericho 2 consecutive pay-per-views in a row. Chris Jericho, he needs this victory, but I still continue to see these two guys going at it. I actually think that they have been having one of the better segments when it comes to Raw within recent weeks. It's got fans talking. I think Chris Jericho has been smart with the way he's been continuing to work with Fandango. And for this particular one, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to say Jericho needs to go over. But post-match, look for a very frustrated Fandango to go beat the living crap out of Jericho post-match. Remember, we got to set up that Payback pay-per-view. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Even though Jericho may go over on Fandango, these two are still going to continue to go at it. It needs to be tied 1-1 so that it can culminate at the Payback pay-per-view. That's the way I'm looking at it right here. We know Chris Jericho, he's signed a new deal with WWE. He's going to be around just a little bit longer, unless he's got to do some touring with Fozzy. But for the most part, he's with them. I'm going with Jericho over Fandango only to continue the feud and have it end at Payback. Alright, now it's time to talk about the heavy stuff that's going to be on this pay-per-view. Let's go with Brock Lesnar taking on Triple H. Steel cage match. This is a match right here that has a lot of folks scratching their heads. They have been wondering how they can truly feel invested into this match, as the rivalry between these two men, it just seems like it's just been staggering for an entire year. Now, Triple H can sit up and say all he wants, how, me and Brock Lesnar, we've been going at it for a whole year. Off and on is the key words. They've been going at it off and on for almost a year. Keeping all that in mind, we've seen some pretty silly stuff when we look back on it now from WWE and the way that they've tried to make you feel invested in this rivalry. We saw Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman go to the WWE headquarters and destroy, supposedly, Triple H's office. That really kind of, when you think about it, it really didn't make any sense for them to do that, because the office could easily just be repaired overnight. We all kind of know that damn sure was not Triple H's office, because it didn't really have that much of a kick-ass view, and it looked too small, and there just wasn't enough pictures of like family and things of that nature. So, let's put all that to the side. Let's talk about what we got right here. We got this match. I still feel this will be the best match that these two guys have been in compared to the last two. I've been saying that for weeks, and if you've been listening to weeks, I definitely think you can be in agreement with me that this is definitely a match that truly, really, really does have the potential to get a lot of people talking. Steel cage match, you're just thinking, okay, it's going to be physical. Hey, maybe it can even be a little bloody, right? Right. Who needs this victory more? Brock Lesnar or Triple H? Who really needs this more? This is the third time that these two men are hooking up. And quite honestly, the way that I'm kind of looking at this right now, my heart wants for Brock Lesnar to go over, and I will tell you the reason why I want for Brock Lesnar to go over. I want for Brock Lesnar to go over Triple H because Brock Lesnar is the fucking beast. That's just honestly because he's the beast. But no, putting that to the side, Brock Lesnar needs this victory because you think about it, this would mean that Triple H has beat him 2 pay-per-views back to back. Right? Keeping track at home, right? So that really doesn't do anything for Brock Lesnar and his momentum, especially if eventually they're trying to set up this match between Brock and Rock at WrestleMania 30, whether or not Rock wants to have anything to do with the WWE come WrestleMania 30, that remains to be seen. On the flip side of that, one could kind of look at this and say, well, you know what? Let's not forget the type of deal that Brock Lesnar has. He works a certain amount of dates and then he has to go on hiatus for a little bit. So thinking about that, this is a tough one. This is a tough one because then you got to go over on Triple H's side. This win really does nothing for Triple H. It gets him bragging rights, but it really doesn't do anything to push him forward. From the booking standpoint, you would say Brock Lesnar goes over Triple H. That's it. But honestly, I think the way that this is looking right now, you want to have that great shock value going into Raw programming. I don't think fans are going to find that shock value here in this particular match. I think we saw a little bit of a prelude from what Triple H was talking about on the final Raw this week and saying that Paul Heyman fears that if Triple H defeats Brock Lesnar in this steel cage match, that Paul Heyman will lose one of his biggest clients perhaps, and basically he'll lose his meal ticket. And I think that just kind of gave us a taste of things to come. I think that maybe we're going to see Brock Lesnar possibly distance himself from Paul Heyman. That's just going to leave him scrounging around trying to figure out what does he do now, because he won't have CM Punk. He won't have Brock Lesnar. What is a Paul Heyman to do, right? So I think you kind of see where I'm going with this as far as the storyline purposes go. I don't think it does good for Triple H as far as bragging rights go. However, I'm thinking about a bigger setup, storyline-wise. I think you guys kind of see where I'm going with this. I got Triple H going over Brock Lesnar in the steel cage match. Let's talk about the main event of the night. It's going to be John Cena taking on Ryback, last man standing for the WWE Championship. This is one that has a lot of folks, actually, they could particularly not care for this match. But I think fans will actually start to feel invested into this after some stuff goes down. Now, no doubt, this match right here, you damn sure ain't going to be seeing no leg scissor takedown and all that other stuff. This is going to be a match that I'm going to be kicking back and I'm going to be watching very carefully, because Ryback, he's looked a little stiff a couple of times leading into this match, and I'm just curious how well he's going to be able to work with John Cena. I'm quite sure these two guys have been getting it down at the live event shows. They've been tuning it up. I'm sure we're going to see a decent match from them. I know fans are kicking back and they haven't been liking the way Ryback's character has been developing as a heel. As the backstage promos that he's doing, phenomenally well, but it seems like once you get him out there in the ring, it just seems like, it comes off bad. But I think there is a remedy for that. A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with Ryback. What's going to happen with John Cena? Is Ryback possibly going to go over John Cena? I don't see that happening. Not in this first encounter. Not in this first encounter. I do not see it going down. I have John Cena going over Ryback, but this will set up a bigger storyline in which I see Cena and Ryback continuing to go at it. I'm looking at one Paul Heyman, who will no longer have CM Punk or his other client Brock Lesnar, to associate himself with Ryback and take him to that next level. Now look, WWE.com article, they were kind of teasing around earlier this week that Paul Heyman has been considering looking for another client. Now, I'm not going off of that article. I have been feeling this way about Ryback for a long time now, which is Ryback, he needs somebody that can talk for him. He needs a manager that can do his part in getting him over. And I think right now, Smart Money says Paul Heyman is white hot. As the beautiful and the lovely Katarina Waters had said a couple of weeks back on the RCWR show, Paul Heyman could read me a phone book and I'll be entertained. And that's exactly what we need. We need to see a Paul Heyman and Ryback team up. So look for that to happen. Man, it wouldn't even really surprise me if we saw maybe Paul Heyman make some type of a cameo at this last man standing match to kind of send a little bit of shock and awe going into Raw on Monday night. But as far as the WWE title goes, I've got John Cena retaining hands down. Okay, and we already know how one can win this match. The only way you can win is your opponent has to be down for 10 seconds for them to for the referee to deliver the count out as they basically count to 10. If they don't come to by the time the referee counts to 10, the match is over. That's pretty much the only way you can win this. Now, will there be some type of interference in this match? I just don't see that happening. I mean, if it was me booking this match, I honestly, I know it would shock the hell out of a lot of people, but I would actually have Paul Heyman pop up in this match pretty much after he is done seeing his client Brock Lesnar lose to Triple H. And I could just see Paul Heyman come out and he has a hammer or something in hand and he's helping out Ryback take out John Cena that just really has a WWE Universe kick back and go, what the hell is going on here? Why is Paul Heyman out here? What's going on? What's going on? And then Ryback is the new WWE Champion. And then you have Paul Heyman the next night on Raw pretty much do all of the talking. But unfortunately, I just don't see WWE going that route, although it would be a very smart move to do. But I just don't see them going that route. And it's unfortunate, too, because I think that would be the proper storyline that they should take in getting Ryback over. But the way that they like to operate, the way at least it comes off on TV, especially when it comes to John Cena as the champion, I just don't see a quick turnaround like that of Cena dropping the title after only 2 pay-per-views. But that's going to do it, folks. All right, let's kick it up from the very top. Let's work our way down. YouTube pre-show. We got Cody Rhodes suffering a defeat to Miz. Miz going to continue his little hot streak of single victories. Alberto Del Rio will go over Jack Swagger in the I Quit match to become the new #1 contender to face Dolph Ziggler for the title. Sheamus, much needed victory over Mark Henry. Randy Orton, though he may be the hometown hero on this night of Extreme Rules, it's actually Big Show I have going over Orton. Chris Jericho, much needed victory over Fandango. Dean Ambrose will become your new United States champion when he defeats Kofi Kingston. Speaking of the Shield, I have Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins defeating Team Hell Knows, Daniel Bryan and Kane to become the new tag team champions. Brock Lesnar, although it would be nice to see him get a win over Triple H, I'm thinking about a bigger storyline as I see Triple H going over Brock Lesnar. Think that'll be it for Brock Lesnar for a while. Have you seen the poster of the Payback pay-per-view? It's got Brock Lesnar on it. No doubt Brock Lesnar will be making one more pay-per-view appearance. John Cena taking on Ryback, last man standing match for the WWE Championship. I have John Cena going over, but don't be too surprised if we see a former ECW alumni make a little bit of a cameo in that particular matchup. And folks, that's going to do it. Hey, what are your match predictions? I definitely want to hear from you all. Feel free to sign off. You can kick back and you can leave your comments on Twitter. Hit us up at Infinity1Prod. You can also hit us up at our new show handle over at the RCWR Show. If you're on YouTube, hit us up at the RCWR Show, as we will have a remixed, enhanced audio version of this episode that you're listening to posted on there. And you can leave your comments there. And hey, if you're on the spot, we will show you some love as we get ready to do the Extreme Rules post-show. And it is going to be the first time in RCWR show history that we're doing a simulcast, folks. What that means is on YouTube, immediately after Extreme Rules goes off the air, you'll be able to hop on over to YouTube. You'll be able to catch me in the flesh on our RCWR post show covering the fallout from the pay-per-view. If you want to hang out with me, make sure you hit me up at those respected links on Twitter. You can also hit us up on our Facebook page at Infinity One Productions. If you want to participate on that episode, hit me up, let me know, and I'll definitely send you an invitation. That way you can share your reactions to what you either liked or disliked about the pay-per-view. Blog Talk Radio listeners, our show will be live at the same time that we are on YouTube, and we will be taking calls from you, the Blog Talk Radio listeners. So you're more than encouraged to call in and share your thoughts with us. We'll also have the chat room open for you all as well, so you all can leave comments. But make sure you join us for the RCWR post-show live simulcast on YouTube and Blog Talk Radio this Sunday, immediately after WWE Extreme Rules goes off the air.